Hey there. Do you have uncontrollable cravings for food you know is not good for you? You know it's bad for you, and yet somehow you cannot seem to control yourself or stop yourself from eating it, and you do it over and over again? Do you want to know how to stop your cravings, these cravings, and just make them go away? This question just came up recently in my Facebook group, Women's Wellness and Natural Healing for Success. One of my members posted the question. She said, how can I control my cravings for potato chips? Right? And I thought, wow, good question. I'm sure a lot of you had that question. And that's why today's dose of wellness wisdom is about how to get those cravings under control so you can stop putting on weight, damaging your health in the long run, and then beating yourself up about it all the time, right? Who's with me here, right? It's tough. So, hey everyone, I'm Donya Fahmy. I'm the Alchemist in Chief for Sustainable Health Solutions, Inc., and the founder and formulator for Dropwise Essentials. And I'm on a mission to empower you to take back control of your health. Okay. And I do that by sharing vital information and advice to help you consistently make smarter and better and healthier choices. Now, I believe that knowledge is power. And when you know better, you do better. Right? And I don't want you to continue being tripped up by the bad habits that steal your energy and your vitality and leave you feeling tired all or most of the time. Who's with me here? Type in the comments below the word tired if you feel tired all or most of the time. And by the way, please share this post or tag anyone you think could benefit by learning more about this particular topic. And I'm sure there's many of you out there. Now, getting rid of junk food cravings is kind of a multifaceted bigger topic, obviously way bigger than I can cover in the session with you today. But if you stick around until the end, I will share a little bit of information about my upcoming healthy eating course where we're going to do a deep dive into this specific topic because I believe it's one of the biggest obstacles most people have when they're trying to switch into healthier eating. Okay, so there are two components, okay, to this whole junk food craving and how to get control. Let's unravel what that's all about. So the first one is a psychological component, and that's all about your mindset, your beliefs, and your attitude about food. Okay, and the second is the physiological or biological, if you want to call it, component, and that's all about what's actually going on inside your body and your brain when you eat these foods. And that's making you crave it. So it's like the chemistry that's going on, the brain chemistry, how your brain chemistry is affected by that food, and how that in turn affects your attitude and your mood, and kind of gets you on the treadmill of sort of like basically, and it's an addiction. So it makes sense, right? Type in the word crave in the comments below if that makes sense to you. So I'm going to talk about some of the things you can do and what you shouldn't do to start addressing this problem with these two areas. And then I'm going to share some quick tips with you at the end for what you can do in the moment when a craving starts to hit you or strikes you, right? Sound good? Cool. So as I mentioned, the first step is to recalibrate your mindset, okay? So let's talk about what that actually means. There are two theories as to why we crave any kind of food, really. The first is that our bodies actually need that food or the ingredients or nutrients that are in that food, right? So if if you're salt deficient, for example, then you're going to be craving salty foods. If or mineral deficient, I should say, because there's certain minerals that we get from eating salty foods. But the second thing is it's just human nature to want what we can't have, right? We just simply want it. When we realize we can't have it, we want it. Who can relate to this? Okay, I still remember this one time way, way back. I think I was still in college, or maybe I'd just gotten out of college. And I was living in New York City at the time, which is where I grew up. And I drove up to a friend's house in Connecticut. And from there, we went to a concert. I think we went to Hartford. I can't remember now. I think it was Hartford. And with all that rushing around to get up there on a Friday night with rush hour traffic and then to get over to the concert, there's just no time to get anything to eat. So by the time we got out, it was like 11 p.m. or so. I was starving. And we were trying to figure out, okay, where can we go? We're driving around in rural Connecticut late at night, trying to find someplace open where we can get some food. Now, this is back way before we had smartphones or GPS or anything that could guide us to the location. And I just started having the worst craving ever for pizza. I just got it in my car. I gotta have some pizza. I'm dying for pizza. Dying, dying. Oh my God. Anybody know what I'm talking about? This was, like I said, back in the day when we didn't have a quick and easy way to find what we want and what we need when we need it, you know? So as the clock is ticking away, we're driving around, it's getting closer to midnight, and it's becoming very apparent that we're not going to find a place to open to eat. Never mind pizza, right? And I still remember this vividly. I was so frustrated, and out of frustration, I just blurted out, oh, the more I know I can't have it, the more I want it. Oh God, you can relate to that. I'm sure, you know, have you ever had this experience? Let me hear from you in the comments below if you had that experience. Now, most of this time, this kind of thinking, this thought is happening at a subconscious level. It's like if someone says to you, for example, okay, for the next 30 seconds, I want you to not think about pink elephants at all. Where does your mind go? Immediately your mind goes to pink elephants, right? In that moment, and for the next 30 seconds, all you can think about is pink elephants, right? Who knows what I'm talking about? Type the word pink elephant in the comment below if you know what I'm talking about. Now, this is the rub. When we think a food is forbidden because it's bad for us, or we're told we shouldn't eat it, we can't eat it, our brain automatically starts to crave it. Crazy, right? So that's why recalibrating your thinking about food is really the first critical step in this process of eliminating or getting control of your junk food cravings. And it is a process. I just want to emphasize that, okay? So that's why, since it's a process, I will never suggest to you to try to go cold turkey and just cut all those junk foods that you like to eat out. You know, it's just too difficult. And you probably won't succeed because you're still in that mindset of deprivation and then wanting what you can't have. All those things is going to make it really difficult for you. So what you want to do is train your brain to move towards the good stuff and away from the bad stuff, okay? If I have any NLP, neuro-linguistic programming peeps with us here today, you know what I'm talking about, right? The away from and towards. So instead of looking at the offending food, whatever it is, as something you have to deprive yourself of or actively resist, look at it as something that you are consciously and actively choosing to not eat. Subtle distinction, but it's a really important one. So here it is. In other words, instead of saying to yourself, oh, I can't have that, it's bad for me, shift it and say to yourself, I'm choosing to pass on this right now and opt for something better because I'm worth it and I deserve something better. And this is actually a choice that I'm making, not a sacrifice. Do you feel like the difference? You know, when you're looking at it as a choice rather than something that's a sacrifice, it's going to feel different. So I'm going to suggest that you start practicing this and see how it makes you feel, to come from an empowered place of choice rather than sort of a victim of helplessness. Oh, I can't help myself. I just have to have that. You know, all the excuses that we make. Oh, okay, I've been really good lately. This one little thing is not going to, it's okay for me to just do it this one little time. Or, you know, you never can get into it. Hey, Monica. Nice to see you. So that brings us, okay, so of course you can do this, and I highly recommend that you do it, but it's not going to be enough to do that alone, right? You can, I mean, it might be for some of you, but it's going to be, in most cases, you need to do more than just change the attitude and the way you think about the food. We need to address the physiological aspects of the junk food craving. So let's just kind of talk about that a little bit. First, I want to be really clear what junk food is. Okay, it's not about what the actual food item is. You know, it's not about, oh, I can't eat cookies. Cookies are bad for me, or donuts, or cupcakes, or whatever your bad is. It's not about that. It's about what are those food items made of and how are they made? What are the ingredients that are being used to make them and how are they being processed? So almost all junk food is processed food or ultra processed food. And I call it fake food because it's basically, by the time you get to that point, there's no nutritional value in the food whatsoever. And it's kind of fuel, like you're fueling your body, but you're not getting the nutrients you need from it. And you're fooling your body because you're getting this reward by having something that tastes good to you, right? So most of these things are made from processed sugar, processed trans fats, salt, and then other additives that are, you know, put in there to make it taste good, to feel good. It's like texture, it's taste, it's texture. It's like trying to speak to all your senses so that when you're eating it, you're really feeling very satisfied in the moment, and therefore you want more and you crave more, right? When you eat these substances, like I said, it triggers the pleasure center in your brain, which then releases dopamine, and that's the feel-good substance. And that can be, it's not just food that does that, but that's what these substances are actually doing. So the problem here is that feel-good rush, it only lasts for a couple of minutes, you know? It sort of lasts for a very short time. And then you need more, right? You need to feed more. And it's not just, I need going to have another helping. I need to have like two more helpings or a helping and a half or whatever. In order to achieve that same level of reward or pleasure, you actually need to consume even more to get it, right? So it's kind of like a law of diminishing returns setting in. And then that's part of what drives the addiction, right? You can never really be satisfied. Gotta have more, gotta have more, okay? So can you find healthier forms of sugar, fat, and salt? Absolutely. There are so many other alternative, healthier forms of these substances, the ones that are usually combined. A lot of times it's mostly sugar, but a lot of times it's all three of these things together, sugar, salt, and fat, in the processed foods that are driving the cravings. You can, instead of depriving yourself of potato chips or corn chips or cookies or, but again, whatever your demon is, or ice cream, for example, just start switching to healthier versions, okay? Healthier versions of the same thing. This is a process, and you got to gradually train your brain to start craving the things that are healthier for you, okay? So you're moving towards healthier and instead of away from unhealthy, okay? That's, again, the mindset piece coming into play. So, will you have to shop somewhere else to find these products? Probably. I don't know. It all depends on where you shop now, obviously. Will it cost you more? Yeah, it probably will. If you're buying certified organic products made with, healthier forms of sugar. And by the way, sugar is not good for you no matter what. But like a healthier form of regular sugar or a healthier form of sugar is going to be better for you than a processed sugar. Way better, okay? So it's all about degrees and transition. And yes, instead of sodium or regular salt, you want to look for products made with sea salt or Himalayan pink salt. These are going to be way, way, way better for you than the salt that's found in most processed foods. And fats, another one. You do not want trans fats, and those typically show up in your product as hydrogenated oils. You want good, healthy fats, olive oil, coconut oil, sesame oil. I mean, sesame, you don't want it to be toasted. You want it to be cold processed. But there are many, many other healthier versions. And there's a whole spectrum of degrees of low-grade, oils, things that are not good, not very good because they're low-grade, like canola oil, and sunflower is kind of dicey, soybean oil. Some of these oils they're low-grade, so they're not very good for you nutritionally. But here's the thing. If you're worried about the cost, what is the cost to you now to continue the way you are, to stay on the path that you're on and continue to eat these kind of fake foods that have very little nutritional value. They're making you put on weight. They're draining your energy and leaving you tired all the time. And they're setting you up for a potentially bank-breaking, soul-crushing future of miserable chronic illness and chronic disease and terminal illness. So, you really have to think about that when you go into that. Like if your head is saying to you, I don't know, that's so much more expensive than the brand I buy, down the street, you got to really assess. And then that's maybe going to help you as well with the mindset of moving towards, okay, because if I'm eating healthier, I don't need to eat quite as much to get as much satisfaction because I'm going to be feeling fuller and better. Okay. But again, it's a process and transition. The goal is for you to transition away from processed food to whole foods, and then do that in a way where you can cheat, but because you will cheat, we all cheat. I'm a savory chip person. I eat chips, not all the time. But so the idea is you want to move towards healthier and healthier cheats. So they're still sort of technically cheats, but they're just like light years ahead of the junk food cheats that you're eating now. Okay, so just to recap real quickly, these two things, in order to stop or eliminate your junk food cravings, you have to change the way you think about the food you eat and recalibrate your mindset from one that's focused on trying to avoid things that are bad for you to one that's actively searching and getting excited about finding things that are good for you. I mean, I am always in the natural food store looking for new products. And when I see them, I get excited. I'm like, cool, there's this new product and it's like low in sugar and it has lots of protein and it has fiber and has all the things in it that are good. And I want to see how it tastes. And then I taste like, oh, that's pretty good. Hey, I could get behind this. Okay. So that's that kind of attitude you want to cultivate when you're going food shopping. You want to be excited about the food you're buying and excited about eating it. And of course, you're not going to be excited every single day, but in general, you want to shift into a more excited state of knowing that you're eating healthier food and that it's helping you in many, many ways, some immediate, but mostly it's helping you in the long run. So again, that's the first thing. And then you have to find healthier ways to trigger the pleasure center in your brain and associate that feel-good experience with the healthier alternatives. Now, are you picking up what I'm putting down here? Okay, type the word good in the comments below if you're getting this, if you understand what I'm telling you here today. So the good news is that research shows that we crave what we eat. So if you proactively choose healthier options, you will tend to crave those more. But again, as I mentioned, it is a process. It's not going to happen like overnight. Okay, so but you have to be conscious and intentional, and this is where the term mindful eating comes into play. You have to be mindful about what you're eating, how it makes you feel, not just in the moment when you're eating it, but afterwards. How do you feel 15 minutes later? How do you feel 30 minutes later? How do you feel 2 hours later? Because that's really going to tell you if what you ate is really helping your body and what your body needs, or if it's really, not doing that. Okay. So I'm going to share with you some quick tips here. These are some things you can do when you feel craving coming on. Okay, so it's more of like how to deal with the craving in the moment as opposed to the longer term process that I've just described to you. So first thing you want to ask yourself, is this really a craving or am I just hungry? So like if we skip meals, and many of us tend to do that, we get hungry at a certain point. And the more intense the hunger is, the more we're inclined to just reach for whatever we can find to satisfy the hunger. Okay, and if you watched my wellness wisdom session last week, it was all about controlling the stress that leads to impulsive eating behavior. So a lot of this is all connected. But so you just sit quietly for a moment and ask yourself, is this a craving or am I just hungry? Because if you're just hungry, then you can just reach for something healthy or healthier and not just for whatever is there to satisfy you. Now, obviously, there'll be situations where you have no choice, but you want, on average, you want the situation to be one where you have a choice to choose something healthier if you know you're just hungry and it's not like an intense craving for a very specific food. That's one. The next thing is to drink a glass of water or a low-calorie beverage. I've been really getting into these guys here. I don't know, LaCroix. They're just flavored sparkling water. That one is an apricot. It's my favorite, actually. And they have coconut. There's no sugar. It's all natural flavorings. And it's, so that's pretty harmless. You can do that if like drinking plain water doesn't appeal to you. The other, you do skip meals. Yep. See, we all do, actually. I think it's the nature of our busy schedules and just the way modern life is hectic and it's hard to plan. But here's the deal. We don't have to stick with that traditional notion of doing 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then maybe snacks in between. The ideal scenario is to eat a little bit of protein and a little bit of fat every 3 to 4 hours. And it doesn't have to be a meal. It just, you can just eat something small, like a handful of nuts, or some peanut butter. Only don't get peanut butter with sugar in it because a lot of the commercial brands have sugar in it. Yes. And so back to what I was just saying about drinking the water. What I do is I make what I call chlorophyll water. So I take like a carafe or a 32-ounce container or whatever. I fill it up with filtered or purified water, and then I add 2 dropperfuls of liquid chlorophyll, which you can get at a health food store, and then a drop or 2 of peppermint essential oil. I kind of shake that up. It looks a little wonky. This is what I've got right now. It's a little diluted, this one, so it has a little bit of a green tint to it. But it actually has a little bit of taste, and the peppermint I find also kind of quells cravings like for sugar or even for salt. And the other thing I'm going to suggest is if you have a specific craving for sugar, for example, flip it and eat something salty or savory, and vice versa. So just kind of just screw around with your taste buds a little bit and trick your brain. That's something. And then the other thing is go for a walk. Well, you just want to, it's called, what's what known in neurolinguistic programming as a pattern interrupt. So if you have a pattern, like you're on a schedule and every day at like 3:30, you get that craving for whatever it is, a snack bar or a cup of coffee or a latte, whatever, then you want to break the pattern. So go out like for a walk right before then, half an hour before something. Just a short walk, 5 minutes, or take a time out and do a breathing exercise or a little bit of a stretching. Do something to preoccupy your mind so you're not thinking about the food so much. And get activate other centers of your brain. Now, other like quick fixes, you can chew like a sugarless gum or hard candy. Most of these things are pretty low calorie, so it's not going to kill you to have one or two of those, and that kind of can shift. It'll satisfy some of that. I recommend the peppermint essential oils, like a drop on your tongue. You could try like a lemon, but peppermint works really well. So just kind of is like almost like eating or chewing peppermint flavored gum. You just put a drop in there, and it just makes your mouth come alive, and then that helps you forget about stuff. And then last but not least is reach for some protein. So if you're going to eat something, reach for protein. A handful of nuts, like I said, some almond butter, peanut butter, have a piece of cheese. Have a full-fat cheese, by the way, or a piece of, like a turkey sandwich, even a half a sandwich, but something that has some protein in it, because that's going to help curb your cravings. Now, these are just a few ways you can start to tackle this problem. But if you're serious about doing this and you're really ready, to roll up your sleeves and get busy and get to work, I'd like to invite you to join me for my Basic Principles of Healthy Eating 6-week live virtual course. We're going to do a deep dive into all the different ways you can start rewiring your brain to crave healthy foods, okay? We're going to talk about what does it really mean to eat healthy. And I'm going to show you what foods you absolutely have to eliminate from your diet because they're damaging your health and draining your energy, and you just really shouldn't be eating them, okay? Again, I want to just qualify that statement by saying it's not like you have to be deprived of or not eat certain types of foods. It's just the quality of the food, how it's made, where it's made, all those things. Thanks, Monica. So if you'd like to register, I'm going to put the URL up here now. If you'd like more information or you'd like to register, then go to www.eathealthybasics.com. I'll put the link in the comments below. And if you have more questions or you need some help deciding if this is the right opportunity for you at this moment in time, you can send me a private message here on Facebook, or you can email me at support@donyafahmy.com, and I'll be happy to help you. So let me see if I can, it's not letting me type that in here right now. Okay, here we go. So here's the link. Here's a link for information about the course and to register if you'd like. And if you want to reach out to me, that's my email that you can reach me at. And that's it for today, for today's Wellness Wisdom, Wednesday Wellness Wisdom. I hope you found it valuable and you got some great information. And I would love to have you join me in the course. If you're interested, we're starting next week. It starts next Tuesday, September 25th. All the course, it is a virtual course, so we're going to be meeting, online via the web and by phone and here on Facebook. And everything will be recorded, so you'll have access to the recordings if you can't be there live. There'll be some coaching involved in that as well. So there's training calls and coaching calls. And you can even submit your question for a coaching call if you can't be there live in person. And you'll get your question answered on the call. And I've got tons and tons of amazing supporting materials and trackers and cheat sheets and tip sheets and things you can take with you to the supermarket. It's going to be really great. I'm very excited about this. And so I hope you'll consider joining me. And like I said, I'm actually running a special price on that through this Sunday at midnight Pacific time. So Sunday, the 23rd of September. So go check it out and give me a shout if you need some help deciding. And that's it for today. Until next time, be well. Okay, bye all.